Hello students, welcome to the second part of sustained release drug delivery systems. In previous presentation we have seen that there are four approaches of formulation design of sustained release drug delivery system. In this presentation we will see the design of sustained release drug delivery system as per the mechanisms of drug release. So how the drug releases from the dosage form, accordingly sustained release dosage form can be divided into diffusion control SRDDS, diffusion control SRDDS, and combination of two, like that is dissolution control and diffusion control systems. So we all know that the dissolution means in chemistry the process of dissolving a solid substance into a solvent to make a solution, and diffusion is nothing but the spread of particles through random motion from regions of higher concentration to regions of lower concentration. Dissolution control system can be of two types: single bead types and beads containing drug with different thickness of coating. Diffusion control system also may be of two types, that is reservoir type and matrix type. First we'll see the dissolution control systems. So first type of dissolution control system is single bead type device. So in this system the core material is made up of drug, and this core material is coated with the polymer layer, and again there is a next coating of drug layer, again the coating of polymer. So in this diagram you can see the brown color indicates the drug layer and white color indicates the coating of polymer, poorly water soluble polymer. And second type is multiple beads, means various thickness of coats of polymer we are giving to the microparticles. So in this system some of the microparticles are kept uncoated, some of the microparticles are coated with polymer with very thin coating, some are coated with intermediate thickness of coating, and some are coated with high thickness of polymer. So what is the basic concept behind this? Those particles which are uncoated, they will release the drug as soon as they will come in contact with the GI fluids, so which will help to achieve the therapeutic level. Then thinly coated particles, they will release the drug after 2 to 3 hours. Intermediately thickness of coating, they may release the drug after 4 to 5 hours, and thick coated particles, they may release the drug after 7 to 8 hours. Means what is our goal of sustained release? That is, the drug must release slowly and continuously. That can be achieved by this system. And why this is called as dissolution control system? Because in both these types, unless and until the polymer layer or polymer coat is dissolved, the drug cannot be released from the system. That's why they are called as a dissolution control systems. Next it is diffusion control system. Diffusion systems are characterized by the release rate of drug being dependent on its diffusion through an inert membrane barrier. Usually this barrier is an insoluble polymer. Then this system again classified into reservoir type devices and matrix type devices. So in reservoir type devices, they are characterized by a core of drug. The reservoir is surrounded by a polymeric membrane. It is nothing but a coating of polymer. The nature of the membrane determines the rate of release of drug from the system. Then here the nature of membrane means that the properties of polymer, that is its solubility as well as its porosity. Advantages of reservoir diffusion systems. The main advantage of reservoir diffusion system is it can give, or we can achieve, zero order delivery by these systems, means controlled release drug delivery system is possible. Second advantage is that the release rate variable with the polymer type, means how long we want to sustain the release, whether we want to sustain the release for 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours. Accordingly we can choose the polymer. Disadvantage of reservoir system, that the system must be physically removed from the implant, because these are prepared by the inert polymers or insoluble polymers, means these polymers do not degrade, so this system must be physically removed after its release period is over. Second disadvantage is it is difficult to deliver high molecular weight compounds, because in reservoir system we are giving the coating of polymer and our drug has to diffuse through the pores of this coating, so it is quite difficult to deliver high molecular weight compounds. Third disadvantage is potentially toxic if system fails. It refers to the dose dumping. As we know that accidentally the coating may get ruptured and there may be chances of potential toxicity if the system is fails. Next type is matrix diffusion control devices. In matrix devices, the drug is dispersed homogeneously throughout a polymer matrix. In this model, drug in the outside layer exposed to the bathing solution is dissolved first, then diffuses out of the matrix. This process continues with the interface between the bathing solution and the solid drug, and this interface continuously moves towards the interior of the core. So for this system to be diffusion control, the rate of dissolution of drug particle within the matrix must be much faster than the dissolution rate of dissolved drug leaving the matrix. Advantages of matrix system: it is easier to produce than reservoir devices. As we know that reservoir devices we need special coating equipments and special skills for uniform coating, so it is easier. It can deliver high molecular weight compounds. It is also another advantage. Disadvantage of matrix system is that it cannot, or we cannot obtain zero order release, means controlled drug delivery system is not possible by this system. Only we can prepare sustained release dosage forms. Removal of remaining matrix is necessary again, which is same disadvantage as that of reservoir system. And here are some marketed examples of matrix diffusional products which are brought in the market by the Abbott company. Third type, it is combination of diffusion and dissolution. It is the type of swelling control system. Here the drug is dissolved in the polymer, but instead of an insoluble polymer, as in previous system, swelling of the polymer occurs. This allows the entrance of water, which causes dissolution of the drug and diffusion out of the swollen matrix. Means the water enters or penetrates into the system, and in system itself the drug get dissolved, and after that dissolution the dissolved drug diffuses out of the matrix. In this system the release rate is highly dependent on the polymer swelling rate, drug type, solubility, and the amount of soluble fraction in the matrix. This system usually minimizes burst effect which occurs in the reservoir system, since polymer swelling must occur before the drug release. These are the examples, marketed examples of encapsulated products and matrix products. The next is parenteral sustained release dosage form. As we know that the main disadvantage of oral sustained release drug delivery system is that we can sustain the release for 12 hours maximum, or when we are using gastro-retentive drug delivery system we can extend it up to maximum 24 hours, not more than that. But when we require a longer release, then parenteral sustained release dosage form can be prepared. The following parameters are generally manipulated in the design of parenteral sustained release dosage forms. First parameter is route of administration. As we know that route of administration of drug are many, and all of them do not afford same rate of absorption. The drug given by intravenous injection may attain a certain blood concentration almost instantly, while the same drug administered intramuscularly may take considerable time to build up that level, since it takes time to diffuse from the muscular tissue into the bloodstream. For a drug placed under the skin in the form of implant may remain active over an extended period of time, giving a sustained action lasting for months to years. Hence, routes of administration may sometimes be fruitfully employed to obtain sustained action of the medicament. Second, it is vehicles. Vehicles significantly alter the bioavailability profile and may be employed to obtain sustained action. If a drug is suspended in a lipophilic vehicle and injected in tissues like muscles, it gives longer action than when it is given in an aqueous medium. Because we know that the extravascular fluid of muscles or any tissue, it is water. And if you are giving suspension or solution in aqueous media, it will be absorbed quickly as compared to the suspension or solution in lipid that is oils. Third, it is vasoconstriction. The rate of passage of drug administered intradermally or intramuscularly depends to a considerable extent upon their area of contact with the blood vessels. Hence, constriction of blood vessel may be employed to prolong the action. Means, when we are giving vasoconstrictors, the blood flow to the particular region of site of administration may be reduced and ultimately it will give the prolonged or sustained action. Adrenaline is sometimes administered with local anesthetics to delay the absorption of drug and to prolong the duration of their action. Next, it is particle size. The particle size governs the dissolution rate and hence the bioavailability of drug. Consequently, this parameter may be exploited to prolong its action. This principle is used for the formulation of hypodermic tablet which retain their size over long period of time, releasing the drug slowly. Another simple example may be aqueous solution and aqueous suspension. Both, if you are giving by intramuscular route, definitely the absorption of suspension, aqueous suspension will be slower and we are getting the prolonged action. Fifth one, it is chemical modification of drug. The structure of the drug molecule can sometimes be chemically modified such that their action is intact while ADME characteristic, that is pharmacokinetics, get altered. In some cases, an analog is synthesized which gives it the desired capacity of prolonged action. Sometimes pro-drug approach is possible, whereby a derivative of drug is evolved which is slowly regenerated into an original drug in the presence of body fluids. The example is lidocaine. When in lidocaine, two hydrogen atoms are replaced by methyl group, enabling it to give prolonged effect, is an example of analog approach. While chloramphenicetine palmitate is an example of prodrug, since the palmitate has to hydrolyze in the GIT to produce chloromycetin, which is an therapeutic agent. Implantable devices. Implantable devices are designed for implantation into the body, and it is the most common approach for design of sustained release parenterals. This implantable device consists of peristaltic pump, drug reservoir, battery, and a control unit. The drug administration program is entered on a personal computer and is transmitted by a control unit to the pump system through skin. Such units have been employed for administration of drug in cancerous and neurological disorders. Gradually, their use may extend to other conditions requiring specified drug administration programs. The example of implant system is Norplant. It is levonorgestrel subdermal implant. Norplant Norplant implants consist of sets of 6 identical silicon rods which are 2.2 mm in diameter and 34 mm long and impregnated with levonorgestrel. Levonorgestrel is a subdermal implant that are approved for use for 5 years.